and welcome to another edition of Witch Chat Chats, sponsored by Evermoving We Rise and Moonlight Potions and Charms. I am your amazing goddess host, Miss Nikki, and our famous chaos magician is Saul Ravencraft. How are you doing, Saul?
I'm famous now. Oh my. Well, I hope that doesn't mean that I have to have all the worst things in my life dragged out in front of everybody like Johnny Depp. Uh, Man, I have made a big stride in trying to cut out celebrity gossip from my news feeds. But I just keep saying over and over, none of my business, not interested in this, don't want to see this, right? A lot of it has gone away. I'm not hearing about, who the Kardashians are seeing and all that sort of thing. But man, this Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing just seems to pop up in everything. It's crazy, and it's not good. It's not healthy. My word. Have you managed to avoid that?
Most of it, yeah, it pops up every now and then, but I mostly avoid that kind of gossip and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm so much happier as I moved away from it. But wow. It's captured the imaginations of the people. So what kind of news do you look at instead? What kind of stories do you like to keep up with? I admit that I'm keeping up with news about the Ukraine because I think that the outcome there is important to all of us. I think it's a test of where our society is as to whether or not that outcome will be defended. It's important. It's about the rest of our world history, what happens there. And local news and weather and horror movies and stuff like that. But I find that so much news is just not useful.
Nope. I like to keep up with what's going on in the Ukraine as well as what's going on with the women's rights movement, especially Roe versus Wade. That's something that really personally concerns me. And, a little bit of local news and of course, the weather, because we just had a tornado warning yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Here. And it seems like we're having more of those, here lately. And, I'm very thankful that nothing happened to me or my mother. So I'm thankful for that. And most of the time, when it comes to news, I don't really watch a whole lot of news and I don't really look into a whole lot of news. I mainly look into issues that we need to, and I mainly focus on businesses and stuff like that. And of course, I absolutely love Daisy Dotty videos, of those cute little Dachshunds. So do you want to know what our divination reading is for today?
So what is our divination for today?
All right. It says, listen and you will develop intuition.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, so what does that mean to you, Saul?
Well, intuition is not usually a shout, it's a whisper. And as long as we're making too much noise or dealing with too much clutter in our brains, we can't hear our intuition. And I think that also goes into interaction with people. You got to be able to have moments of silence. And listen. Don't just sit there formulating your response while the other person is talking, waiting for the gap to give them your zinger, right? you gotta actively listen and truly participate Let the person's words become thoughts in your head. And I think that's true with your intuition as well. What has your experience been with intuition?
Oh, it's basically similar. You know, you have to be quiet in order to listen what your intuition is, what your what I would say your higher self is telling you. And it's intuition to me comes from the higher self. It comes from deity, of being able to know what you need to go do next. And if you're always in your head, like a lot of people are, it's kind of hard to be able to hear that. So you need to quiet all the voices and just be silent to be able to hear your intuition come through.
Right, right. And we're not comfortable with silence nowadays. We don't experience a lot of it. Remember when the television station used to go off the air?
Oh God, I remember that. And it went.
Yep, they'd play the national anthem and they'd show their little end card for the day, and then they'd turn into the Carolan channel. And there was a point where television stopped. And there was no television. If you want to watch TV at like 2 a.m, there really wasn't anything for you. You had to read a book or something. And of course now that noise is constant. And you know, I'm guilty of it too. I'll always have an audio book going, or music, or something in the background. Because I kind of enjoy it, but I also have to learn to be comfortable with the silence. And I think in order to be an effective magical practitioner, you have to be able to deal with silence.
Mm-hmm.
There's that weird moment in rituals, I think well-designed rituals, where there's nothing. We've sent it out there, and we are contemplating that follow-through. And there should be silence in that moment. And not everyone is comfortable with that in a ritual,
Mm-hmm.
right? We gotta play a drum or do something, right? Because in the silence you might hear something. Whoa. Whoa.
So what do you have going on?
Well, this weekend is a lot less harrowing than last weekend. We talked about what was going to be going on, and I pretty much spent the week a little wiped out. I was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday doing the Down the Rabbit Hole performances at Mama Merlot's, which is the underground speakeasy at Doc's Drive-In, where I've been doing my second edition of Ravencraft's Vault of Horror, and we're building a relationship. And this was a pilot event, and it was all over the map as to audiences and circumstances and that kind of thing. And I ended up using my flexibility to adjust to the circumstances. And then I had corporate readings on Monday night, and so there just really was 4 days of relentless energy with this. And even though what I do is in those circumstances is for entertainment, I'm still connecting. I'm still doing things. It's a lighter touch than what I would do if you and I sat down for a personal reading or consulting or working or something like that. But you're still doing the thing. It's just got a little bling on it, so that people can be more comfortable with it from their own perspective. Man, doing that much does take it out of me. So outside of doing the time at Curia Arcanum's House of Curiosities, which will include little Sunday times coming up. I'm resetting and trying to sharpen my saw and taking a look at some of the offerings and things that I should be doing and doing something about that. I need to have conversations with people about possibilities and get into my own work. So things may be a little quieter for a few weeks while I try and do something about that. Now you've always got stuff going on. What's going on with you?
Well, with Moonlight Potions and Charms, we're still raving in the reviews, the 5-star reviews that we're getting. And, it's really nice to know that we are doing so much work and so much help out into the community, being able to help our clients and getting them their stuff very, very quick. Like I said, it's usually the same day that you order, or maybe even the next day that we send things out. So it's just absolutely great. And we've got our products. We have so many different products. We have oils, all kinds of different oils. We have a Hecate oil. We have oils for Papa Legba. We have oils for Van Van, which is a good luck oil. We have a protection oil, and so on and so on. Plus, we have all these amazing candles, baths, and so much more. And plus, on top of that, we have our readings that we're doing, especially our ancestor readings. They are just one of the amazing things that actually we get to do, because we sit down and we talk to you about your ancestors and what messages that they're going to give to you. So you can go to www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and be able to see all the amazing things that we absolutely have, including our Phoenix Crossroads Academy that has so many different classes. And we're starting our Evermoving We Rise, the first degree, their fire degree. So that is something else that is really, truly exciting to be able to do. And then with Evermoving We Rise, Midsummer is June the 19th. So that is something that we're really looking forward to be able to doing that. And also we've got the Dark Moon on the 27th. So I want to make sure you guys know about all of these and be able to come and see us. Plus, we've got so many things with our Rise of Phoenix store. We've got so many different types of products from Evermoving We Rise, as well as our blog and our Oracle. So that is just an absolute lot that we have. And then next month, in July 15th through the 17th, I will be at the Mystic South Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. And I will be giving several different workshops. One of them will be about shining the light on coffin boxes. Yes, these wonderful little coffin boxes. See how you can be able to use them, and not just for cursing, but also for things like shadow work. Yes, you can use coffins for shadow work. And so I will be selling these coffins, and they're $14.50 each at the workshop. And then I will also be giving another workshop called Tools Used to Communicate with Your Ancestors. That one I'm really looking forward to, because we can be able to get down and dirty and discuss how we can be able to communicate with our ancestors. Even if you can't see them, or even if you can't hear them, you still can be able to communicate with them. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right, and the WitchsFest USA is coming up, and Saul and I will be, of course, we'll be giving workshops there. So Saul and I are very, very excited about that. So Saul, what are your workshops that you're going to be doing?
Well, mine is I'm doing a presentation on Friday, and it is about my own personal journey from being a skeptic and an adversary, really, to a lot of this, to someone who actually embraces and engages with this. It's called careful what you wish for. From pessimist to practitioner, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. I think it's going to reflect for other people who are new to the craft or their craft, right? It's not the craft. There's lots of different versions of that road. And then my second one is on Sunday. It is entitled Intention, Will, and Follow Through, using the basic elements of magic. And what we're going to do is we're going to examine the fundamentals of how magic and manifestation happens, with the idea that you'll not only have a better understanding of what you're doing, but you'll be more confident about crafting your own approaches to everything. So I think that's going to be good for everybody. And what are you going to be presenting on, Miss Nikki?
I'm doing backdoor cursing. Basically, how can we go ahead and curse and not get any of the consequences back? It's very easy. It's a simple little technique that I'll be able to show you, and I'm looking forward to that. And then we're doing the creative use of dolls. Yes, dolls, little bitty dolls. Being able to use them, not only can you use them for cursing, you can use them for healing, you can use them for prosperity, and so many other things. So I am looking forward to being able to do that. Basal and I, we have a little bit of a raffle going on for WitchsFest USA tickets, because each one of us gets a ticket, and we are allowing people to click on the link, which is in the summary, and you can only enter one time, and then the last day to enter is July 4th, and we will announce the winner with Star Ravenhawk on July 10th. Hey, Saul, you think we ought to introduce the guest host now?
Oh, absolutely. Who do we have today?
All right. So, a business, wealth, and money manifesting coach. This guest host is the author of the Enchanted Crystal Magic book. And we are proud to present Pamela Chen. How are you doing, Pamela?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Very glad to have you here today.
Mm-hmm. So you were doing this book with Llewellyn?
Yes.
And crystals.
Yeah, I just wanted to create I just wanted to share the magic with crystals, because I do have like an online crystal business that me and my friend runs. And a lot of people ask me the same questions over and over and over again on what do I do with this crystal? How do I do a spell? How do I do rituals? Like, how do I create talismans or whatever? So instead of having to tell them all the time, I decided, hey, this would be a great book so that when they buy crystals from us or other places, I can feel like, here you go. This is all you, maybe not all, there's so much information out there, but this is what can get you started with your magical crystal journey.
What drew you to crystals? How did you end up being focused on crystals?
I naturally love them because they're so sparkly and shiny. And it wasn't really until maybe I think it was 2005 or 2006 when my business partner gave me the citrine for my birthday. And at that time I was still doing, I was working, but I was trying to be a tarot reader. And so I had the citrine. I was like, oh, let me just put it on my computer. And that week, I feel like I had like 10 new clients or something crazy, which at that time there was like no social media, right? So I'm like, where did these clients come from? And I was like, oh my gosh, I like prayed to my crystal for new clients. And that's what it happened. We're like, crystal magic is real. And from there, we started going, we're like, why don't we just sell crystals online? Everyone's doing it. And we started to go to all the conventions, talking all to the vendors. And it was a really beautiful experience, just like being in the crystal energy. And I started learning a little bit more about, okay, what do I do with it? right, how do I use this energy to create what I want in life? And so I started using it for manifesting. And I was at the time taking business lessons to be a coach online. And my mentor, who was very good to me, she started like bring me into her groups and be like, hey, can you teach crystal magic? And so for a time I was like the crystal magic coach, and that was really fun.
So you said citrine was your first crystal. Is that your favorite one, or do you have another one?
It wasn't my first crystal, but I think it was the first crystal that I realized that magic, there's energy, there's magic with the crystals. I think my first one, I don't remember, those tumbled ones you get at the stores. That was probably the first one I really invested in or my friend invested in for me, because the citrines are a little bit pricey, like the towers. I don't really have a favorite crystal. Citrine, I always use citrine because it is for abundance and money, and that's what I really focus on. But I think it's whatever really calls out to me during that time that I'm working with. So I'll probably I feel like I do work with the crystal for like a month or two. And then when the lessons are done, when I've accomplished whatever it is that I have to accomplish, then I just randomly choose another one.
So for people that are new to crystals, help us understand the difference between crystals and working with crystals and, say, working with semi-precious gemstones or some other kind of mineral. What makes the crystal different?
I think it's just the molecular structure of crystals is different from a mineral. But for crystal grids, if you don't have crystals, I suggest you just go outside and pick up a rock. It's the same, it's like they're from the earth. It's the same thing. Just the specific way the crystals are structured is what gives out that frequency or that energy. So certain crystals are for love or for abundance or for protection is because the way that they're structured and the frequency that they give out. Semi-precious, I love them too because they're just so sparkly. But I mean, for a person just going out there and like buying a semi-precious gem, it would be a little bit expensive, right? So the crystals work. It doesn't have to be expensive to work magic. I feel like they do have the same energies. This past trip to the crystal convention, we did get a few like citrine and amethyst rings that are like polished and faceted, and it was very beautiful. It's the same energy. It just depends on you and how you want to work with it.
So a crystal convention. I mean, I've been to a Comic-Con. I can only imagine what a crystal convention is. Please tell me there aren't people that go there dressed as crystals.
No, it's actually more of like a crystal show. So the biggest one is in Tucson, Arizona. Then we also go to the Denver one. So what happens is there's like over 50 locations, over I don't know how many shops in there. So just think like, like a DoubleTree, think of a Hilton or a DoubleTree. Imagine every hotel room is a crystal shop from all around the world. And you go in, and there's also the convention center outside that they set up tents. And when we go, but we are shopping for clients, but we shop from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., like 5 days straight. You just there's just so many places to go, and it's a lot of fun.
And are the prices pretty fixed, or is there some level of negotiation that goes on? Do you just walk around with your basket and pay at the end? What is that like?
Yeah, we usually walk around with like a cart because we get tons of crystals, or a backpack. You might want a backpack. And most places you can buy, so they'll have the prices on there, and it's pretty fixed if you're buying one or two. If you have a wholesale license, then you can bargain with them, if you buy a bunch of crystals. And some places you have to buy the price if you don't buy more than 10 or something. But if you do have a retail wholesale license, then you do get, the wholesale price, which is what we do.
Are you a shrewd negotiator?
I actually let my business partner do that job. We negotiate, we ask. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. Sometimes, so the crystal prices actually fluctuate too. It depends on the demand of crystals. And since TikTok has been featuring a lot of the crystals like carnelian this year, I don't know if you've seen, but it blew up. And so at the show, we couldn't even find any carnelians, and the ones that we did, they did mark up the price because it was in demand.
Wow. Now, carnelian, that's tell me a little bit more about what kind of a crystal that is. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, I'm like trying to look for it, but I don't know if I have my carnelian next to me.
That's
so
all right.
It's like a reddish, orange, sometimes white and yellow stone. And we like to use it for confidence, for courage, for fertility, for passion, if you want to stay motivated. I think on TikTok, they were pitching it as passion to unite with like your soul flame or something. So obviously, that's going to take off.
Sure. Now, what forms do crystals come in? You talked about getting a tumbled stone, and there are different shapes and different forms there. So what kinds of forms do you suggest to people or work with yourself?
So I like to keep the tumbled so they're smooth. They're usually little, probably in my bra if you have a bra, or in your pocket or in your bag, because they're $3 to $4, and if you lose it, it's okay. I like to work with the towers. So do I have a tower? So this is a selenite tower, which is actually in a raw form. So selenite mostly come in a raw form. So this is a tower with a pointed top. And I like to put those on my altars, or when you do your grids, or when you do a spell, because what happens is all of the energies is like sent up through the point, into the cosmos, into the universe, sending your intention out there. That's how I like to visualize it. Or if you have an amethyst tower and you have a headache or pains in your body, I like to just lie down, put the tower on, and imagine the pain leaving through the point. If you have a crystal with 2 points, that's actually receiving and sending. So it was really funny. I'm from Hawaii. So we went back for a crystal show for our show. We had a Hawaii show. And my friend came in and he's like, look, I haven't dated for over 3 years. I need a crystal. It's not that simple, but we're like, okay, so here's, double pointed rose quartz for love. You can receive and send love. He's like, okay, great. I'll take it. So that day he put it in his pocket. He stepped outside in the parking lot. 2 girls approached him and wanted to hang out with him. And from the last time I spoken to him, he was in like a 1 or 2 year relationship with one of the girls.
Wow.
And now you told Saul exactly where he can put his crystals in his bra. Yeah,
in his bra.
Awesome.
Or under your hat.
There you go. Now the tower shape that you showed us, that's not a natural shape for a crystal. That's something that's been carved, right?
Yes. So this has definitely been carved. So this is more like a smooth one. So this is a pink aura. It's a little bit shiny because it has other metals that has been heat treated onto the crystals. I don't mind working with heat treated crystals. Some people do. So it's again up to your preference. I feel like the gold, the platinum, or the silver that gets combined with the crystals, if it's if it hasn't harmed the crystal, so if it isn't crumbling, if it's not falling apart, then it's still really powerful to work with.
Right. Now, what about more naturally shaped crystals, or maybe even clusters of crystals?
Yes.
How do those fit into practice?
So clusters, I like to call them they're like the community stone. So I have a quartz here. This is actually Lemurian quartz. So clusters, because they have like so many points, they are like a community crystal. So they really do give off the energy in a space where people gather. So let's just say if you want it, so for workspace or in your home, I would put cluster, we could put them anywhere, but you can put them in like the center of, you know, your living room table or something, the coffee table, to promote like well-being for everybody in the home, for clear communications and all of that.
Is it important? So when you go into a crystal shop, or I'm sure look at your shop online, we're going to see some beautiful, clear, pure, mathematically correct crystals. But what about sort of a ratty looking crystal, something that's not, it's not clear and pure, and you know, the lines are a little wonky and that kind of thing? Is that a crystal that we can still use, or do we reject those?
No. So what I say is, when online shopping or even in person, if you are, you know, you keep looking at that crystal, even if it's not the one that you went into the shop with the intention of buying, or if you just have to keep scrolling back to that crystal, I call it like it's winking at you. If it's winking at you, that means there's a part of you that is like, hey, your soul is like, hey, go get that crystal because we want to work with it. There's a lesson, there's a story. So there's actually this one that I picked up. There's all kinds of things in it. You know, it's kind of not straight, the line, there's like a baby on it, and there's just like lots of things in it. And it's not the most beautiful crystal, but for some reason, it was like calling me. This is a Himalayan quartz. And so I was like, okay, that's the one I need, you know, for me at the time. So that's the one I bought, and I was like carrying it with me throughout my whole crystal shopping trip a couple trips ago. So you go for the crystal that you are naturally drawn to, even if you don't think it's beautiful. But most of the time you're going to be like, wow, that one is so pretty, I want that one.
That's interesting. I would expect that any specimen of a type of crystal would contain the power of that crystal. So even if you go for sort of the cheap, rejected versions of them at the rock shop, that you could benefit from that. It doesn't have to be the award-winning version.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be museum quality or anything. But the big thing I would really look at is if it's crumbly, if it's breaking, because that just means that it wasn't maybe handled very well, or maybe they used dynamite to blow up the caves instead of digging it out, which we try not to buy from people who blows up because that hurts the earth. So for the people who do dig up the crystals, that's what the dealers that we usually find. So we don't have like a huge crystal shop. We might open one in Hawaii soon, but just like a little boutique one. So what we like to do is we actually hand pick all our crystals. So we don't get them like from a box, you know, and you might have not so good ones that's not high quality, but we really do try find really high quality, high vibe crystals that just feels good to us. Like it's something that we would want. And it's really funny because all the crystals I want, my business partner doesn't like, and all the ones she wants, I don't want. So we have very different tastes in crystals. I mean, we love all crystals, but we have very different tastes in crystals, and it works out because we have clients, you know, from both spectrums.
So I got a question, since you're in Hawaii, okay, because I've heard this. I've heard that if you take like a rock from Hawaii or a crystal from Hawaii, you can't take it to the mainland. Is that true?
Yes. So I live in Las Vegas now, but I am from Hawaii. I grew up in Hawaii. So you can't take a lava rock from the land. But if I'm selling crystals in Hawaii, it's fine, because it's not from the lands. So you just don't want to take anything back, because the spirit goes with you. And it'll, normally I don't believe in this kind of stuff, but I've seen it happen. Like stuff that things will be falling over, all these things will happen until they actually mail back the rock. So I wouldn't suggest you doing that.
The genius loci can be a powerful force.
Yes.
Now, you said that you and your partner have sort of different affinities for crystals. So help us to understand what that means. I mean, it's not just that you think these are prettier and she thinks those are prettier. I mean, there's something deeper going on there. For people who haven't necessarily experienced that, help us to understand what you're going through there.
Yeah, so it's actually the different types of crystals that we like on top of the color, and stuff. So it's probably because we're both on very different paths. Our journey is at a different point in our lives, and there's different healing, there's different energies that we both need. And so we are drawn to the crystals, the energies that can help you, reach your goals wherever you are now. So you're never really off your purpose. Right? You're always on the path to your purpose. You're never off your path. The only thing is you might be distracted or you are blocked from seeing what is next on your purpose. So you're never off your purpose. And what crystals and other practices does is clear your view, clear your vision on how you can continue on this path.
Awesome. And with that, we need to have a word from our sponsors. We are all magical beings. As a solitary magical practitioner, you can grow and develop yourself independently. Yet, the solitary path can be difficult and lonely with setbacks and self-doubts. And as you find your way without affirmations, reinforcements, or a safe space to practice, what do you do when things bump back? At Evermoving We Rise, our name is our lifestyle. We realize that everyone's spiritual journey is extremely personal, but more easily traveled with reinforcement. We teach you to understand and use the magical tools at your fingertips, while being upheld and developing personal responsibility for your own spirituality. We have a safe space to practice and learn as you master your craft. When situations bump back, you will have the entire community behind you, as we are a magical family who work to sustain each other. Discover the benefits of working within a society dedicated to helping you grow on your personal path. Start today. Visit us at our website, Linktree, or Facebook page, and discover why we don't fit in the box. Have you heard? People are raving about Moonlight potions and charms with 5-star reviews. 5 stars for excellent products, amazing services, and fast shipping. We are an Etsy star seller. Listen to some of our reviews. Author and owner of Wicked Witch Studios, Dorothy Morrison said, "I'm in love. The Marie Laveau Altar on the Go is absolutely amazing and jam-packed with everything one could possibly need, no matter what sort of magic they're planning. Kudos on a great product." Jess said, "Absolutely love the Papa Legba prayer candle. I've been hunting for a good Papa Legba candle forever with zero success, and I adore this one." High Priestess said, "Adorable wooden coffins. Can't wait to use them." And Angelica said about our ancestor oil, "Exceeding my expectations. Packaged with love and smells amazing. Definitely recommending and buying again." Make sure to check out our Bubbling Cauldron bath bombs, available in Luck of the Irish, Lavender, and Dragon's Blood. Our magical milk baths are also available in Papa Legba Purification, White Flowers, Lucky Love, and Van Van. All are homemade and spelled with love, care, and intention. Our Happily Ever After candle line is designed with you in mind. There is so much more in our Wicked store to help you to embrace the power of your own magic. So come on in to Moonlight Potions and Charms at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and discover the wicked things that ignite the magical passion in you. Are you at a crossroads? Not sure which direction to go? Or do you feel powerless? Or is there another question that needs answering? At Moonlight Potions and Charms, our many services assist our clients to emerge their authentic selves and embrace the power and magic that lies within them. Many of our readings provide the clarity one needs to pursue their life's destiny. Our soulful readings assist one to discover what is required to be in alignment with one's soul journey. Our tarot readings provide clarity and coaching for those who are at a crossroads in life. Our animal medicine readings show what our animal brothers and sisters can teach you about yourself and your life. Unsure where to start your shadow work? Book a shadow reading. There is so much more in our Wicked store, so visit us at www.moonlightpotionscharms.com and embrace the power of your own magic.
I'm Saul Ravencraft, co-host of Witch Hat Chats. I understand just how confusing and chaotic it can be to open to a path of magic and manifestation. Everything seems to turn on its head. I want to be an ally as you find the way upon your path. My studio setup will let us do readings, coaching, and exploration virtually, just as though you were sitting across the table from me. One size does not fit all, and we will work together to craft the right approaches to build your practice, your confidence, and your power using the tools of divination, magical works, and spirit connections. It's never too late to embrace a new path and emerge empowered. Go to texasmojoman.com and select Contact to begin. There's a message now. Let's get started working on your very good fortune. At Witch Hat Chats, we promote magical knowledge, arts, and music from all cultures. We invite you to join us as our guest to share your practice, especially if your traditions are lesser known. Email us at witchhatchats@gmail.com. Tune in every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Facebook page. And welcome back to Witch Hat Chats. Nikki and I are talking to Pamela Chen about the wild and wacky world of crystals. And I have to admit, Pamela, I am a little disappointed that there is no crystal cosplay going on. I think that would be wonderful to just walk around dressed like quartz. Or you could be more subtle and dress as the idea of that crystal, right? The amethyst could be all ghostly and that kind of thing. So you got to make people think about it a little bit. Maybe that'll be a thing. Maybe the next one you go to, there will be someone who's heard this and is going to give it a shot, see what happens. See how long it is before they're escorted out. So you talked quite a bit about your own connection with crystals, and we've talked about some of the forms and all of that. But I'm guessing that I don't really want to just get the crystal and set it up next to my Spider-Man figure on the shelf, and it's just going to do its thing. There's probably a little bit more going on when you take on a crystal. yes, no?
Yes, definitely. So, like the story earlier, my friend just took the crystal, put it in his pocket, and it worked, right? So that can happen because your intuition probably led you to that crystal shop or online shop and was like, hey, this is the last thing, the last energy you need to push through that resistance, right? This last thing, and you listen to it. Sometimes, as we know with manifestations, sometimes it's like 100 steps. Sometimes it could be 5 steps, and you just have to like kind of follow it. So it might be you getting this crystal and then intentionally doing something with it, right? There's more to do. There's more. And maybe it's for you to learn how to really focus on what you desire, what you want. And you can do that with the crystals very easily, is you can program your crystals. So you can program intentions, wishes, whatever you want to call it, into the crystal. So the crystal is actively working for you. And it's very easy. You can set up a whole ceremony with it. But I know that a lot of my crystal clients aren't, they're not witches or they're not magical practitioners. This is like their first crystal ever. So if that is your first time, not to overwhelm you, you could just hold the crystal and you could just put it to your heart, and you can put your intention. Just imagine sending your intention in a pink smoke or whatever your favorite color is into the crystal, and you can say it out loud, right? Please, crystal, whatever crystal it is, I want to work with you. I want this and this and this. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Manifest. And so now you have programmed the crystal. The next step is to either keep it with you, right? Because you're really aware of it. And every time you look at that crystal, you actually think of your intention, right? Unconsciously, at least. Hey, yeah, I programmed this. It's working for me. It's working for me. And it really does all come down to belief. If you believe like it's going to happen for you, it's coming. And then and then you can take the actions that, okay, so if I really do want this in my life, what do I have to do to put myself out there? Maybe doing the things that I don't want to do, right? Changing what I do so that I can change my life. And you'll find that it is a lot easier because you have the energies, the frequency of the crystal that is like supporting you. So it's not that you need magical tools. You don't need the crystal. You don't need tarot for reading. You don't need any of those stuff. But it is helpful because now you're bringing everything that you are doing in the realm of the mental realm, the energetic realm, right? What you are thinking, what you are sending out there, all the energy work. Now you're bringing it into the physical realm, into the body, into the crystal. And this is where and that's part of my 4 realms of manifestation. This is where we spend our life. This is where we experience our lives. So of course, instead of just leaving everything, affirmations, leaving everything up there, why don't we bring it to our crystal and have it here and then manifest that? So I think that's like the most important thing. But for some people, it might just be getting that crystal, putting it next to them or holding on to them, and it shifts.
Right. So when you buy a crystal, do you just go ahead and put it on your altar, or do you need to cleanse it first, or what needs to be done when you first buy one?
So when you first either receive it in the mail or from the store, 100% cleanse it. I'll tell you how to cleanse it in a little bit. I just wanted to share my story. This is the last trip to the crystal shopping. So we usually send out our crystals straight from Tucson. So it's like less shipping, for everybody. Like if you buy it from us from Tucson, we'll send it right away. And everybody that got our crystal was like, wow, it feels amazing. Like they didn't have to clean. I'm sure they cleansed it, but they were like, wow, the crystal felt so amazing. And even when I shipped my own box back, I was like, wow, like the crystal still felt like really good to me, but I would definitely cleanse it. So what you can do is the most popular, safest, any crystal, you can charge it under the moonlight. So the full moon, is an amazing cleansing, empowering, recharging, restarting the crystals. So it'll clear all of the energies away and give you like a fresh crystal. So remember I said program your crystals for your intention. So if you're not done working with the crystals, if you aren't done with that intention, I would not put it underneath the moonlight to recharge it because you're still working on it. If you do, then you have to reprogram it again. So just setting it out under the moon, make sure you do take it out early in the morning and it doesn't stay under the sun because a lot of the crystals will fade in color if you leave it out in the sun for too long. So just the moonlight, you can leave it out for a couple hours. I like to leave it out for the whole night and then bring it back in. Or a lot of people don't have some place safe where they can leave their crystals out. So if you have, and you have to track the moon, obviously, you need a window or some open place where the moonlight will hit the crystal inside your house. And you can just put on the window seal or something. In Hawaii, we have these things called jealousies, which is like these clear things you open and close for your window. And a lot of my clients from Hawaii put it on their jealousies for the crystals to charge. So anywhere, it doesn't have to be special. You can make a grid. You don't have to make a grid. It's totally up to you how you want to charge it under the moonlight. If you have a smudge bundle, you can cleanse it with smoke. We usually do that on our trip because, you know, we don't get there on the full moon and we can't charge the crystals. So usually a smudge bundle, I love using mostly rosemary and lavender is my favorite to smudge the crystals. Or if you have a smudge spray, just lightly spray it. I know that Nikki and I were talking about putting it in salt water on break. So I actually never use that technique because especially selenite, a lot of the crystals are crumbly, so they'll actually melt in water, and you will do damage to the crystal. So I don't submerge my crystal in any water. You can lightly spray it though if you desire with essential oil or whatever it is. You can also cleanse it, and this might be really good for some crystals where you're just like, ooh, it's really yucky, but you don't have the moon. You can put it in rice because rice will absorb all of the energy out, and you could just dump it if you want, or you can put it on like a bed of leaves or flowers or anything that you desire to like really honor that crystal over the rice. That is like if you are a healer or energy worker, you can definitely just, cleanse your crystal with your energy.
Yes, because I remember receiving a free amethyst from this Buddhist temple, supposedly, and I got it, and it was a pretty decent big amethyst, but it felt dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt really yucky.
Yeah. And
I ended up having to cleanse it 3 times just to get all that yucky dirt out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you can just, I'll share a little bit about how to feel the energy, right? Everyone's like, how do we know? So I wasn't born with or taught when I was little, like how to feel energy or healing or, any magical practices. Everything that I've learned was because I went out and I took classes and I practiced. And I just remember when I moved to Vegas, I was searching for something. I was like 20 years old. And I went to this holistic convention. I just saw it in the papers. I went by myself. And right when I entered, there were these, everyone was by this crystal bracelet shop and they were like holding onto it. They're like, ooh, the energy feels so amazing, powerful. And so I was like, ooh, I want to try. So I grabbed a bracelet and I held it in my hands and I was like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. And so it's okay if you don't feel the energy. And I probably was feeling, I just didn't know what to look for. I didn't know what the energy meant. I didn't know how to feel it. So if that's you, it's okay because this this is something that you can learn. You can sit with a crystal every single day and just notice how you are feeling inside, like the emotions, how the crystal is feeling physically, if it's cold, hot, if it's vibrating. And some of you do have to focus and be aware if you haven't practiced magic or energy work yet. But in time, you will be able to feel the energies and feel the crystals. And what I usually feel from crystals is they either get really hot or they're really cold. So I feel like in the beginning, when I hold crystals, if they're really hot, that means that they're ready to work with me. There's a lot of things to be done. And when it gets colder, it has already settled in. And I'm just like, ooh, okay, this energy is integrating. It might be the same as you. It might be different because everybody is unique. And even if, in the book, I do talk about love crystals, money crystals, protection crystals. And those are just the universal crystal energy. If you feel a different energy from a crystal, let's just say a love crystal, but you want to work with it for money, you can do that too. It doesn't matter what it's labeled at, it's what you need at that moment. So I used to be a dealer at the casinos. I dealt blackjack and roulette. And one of my clients came up to my table and she's like, Pamela, I need a crystal. Everybody knows I did magic, but they're like, Pamela, I need a crystal to win the poker tournament. And I'm like, okay. And I just happened to have crystals in my backpack. So I went on break and I got her a black tourmaline, which wasn't a money crystal, but what was like calling out to me to give her, right? And so I gave it to her and I think she came in third place. And she didn't really gamble poker. That was like her first time. And the reason why it worked, even though it wasn't a money crystal, was because she needed to ground her energy and not be so scattered and nervous during the tournament. So a lot of times what you want, like even if you want money, abundance, or wealth, maybe there's other energies that's going on that you need a shift to get that other crystals can help you with.
Right. So our show is called Witch Hat Chats. So the people who tend to tune in here are not afraid.
Yeah.
So let's get just a little witchier with this and look at how crystals can be included into a magical practice, and maybe some of your own techniques. You brush lightly on ritual, and maybe there's a chance to go deeper there, or someone who has been avoiding crystals in their practice because it's too new age, right? It's too we do the old ways here. How does someone open up to bringing that crystal energy into their practice and making use of it?
Yeah, so I would actually just go out and get 1 or 2 crystals, 1, 2, or 3, whatever you desire to start working with, and work with the crystal for a week or 2 before you work with the second or third crystal, and just write just kind of how you would, write in your spell book or grimoire or whatever, like how the spell felt, right? How did the ritual go? How did your daily tarot pull? What happened when you worked with this card? When you worked with this color? When you worked with this herb? It's the same thing. It's just an element to help you create whatever it is that you want to call in. Right. So I would write down how I felt with this crystal during the day. How did it help me? How do I think how was I feeling? So you will, if you tune in and if you are very conscious of working with crystals, you'll notice the difference in energy. And if everybody is probably a magical practitioner or a witch, then you know how energy feels, right? And you know the shifts. So I've had clients who were like, oh my gosh, I forgot my crystals today at work and I felt so naked. Like they actually felt, and they weren't witches, and they actually felt like there was a missing energy protecting them, or, you know, calling in the money or whatever. So work with it and, you know, like see how it feels with you, without you, how it feels in your hand, if it changes, what you can communicate with your crystals. So crystals can be your guides too. You can channel, you can pick up your crystal and you can say, hey, crystal, what messages do you have for me today? Right? And you can automatic write, you can channel that, you can speak it out, whatever it is that you desire. However you work with like your herbs or other magical tools, your candles, right? I'm sure pretty much everybody uses candles in their spells or rituals, right? It's the same thing. Color candles, green means money, red means passion, black means protection. It's the same with crystals, just convert it over to crystals for now. That's like the easiest thing to do. Yeah. Sure.
Well, I don't believe they're all crystals, so I think of them as stones. I've certainly used those to mark the quarters of a magic circle when I wasn't able to light candles, and I've chosen what seemed to have affinity for a particular element to put in that direction. When I do readings, I have a set of stones. They're all amethyst, but I found that each one, and amethyst to me is very good for spirit communication and for helping to open and connect intuition. And I found that I identify each one of these with a different vibration that's going on for people, whether their concern is more in the direction of their avocation or money or health or something like that. And I have them on the table. They're just on the table in a little circle, and I'll ask them if they don't really seem to know what to connect with. I'll ask them, which one do you feel drawn to right now? And they'll pick that up and hold it for a moment, and I'll hold it for a moment. And I find in general that they tend to be drawn toward the stone that I feel the vibration for that particular issue. And that does turn out to be what it is that they're concerned about at the moment. So I agree with you that it's very much a matter of just starting to bring these in and consider them like you would any new tool that you start to work with.
Yes. I like how you said that, because you can do crystal readings, right? And, you know, you could just have people pull crystals and see what they need. And I mean, my gift, my language of love is gifting. So I do always have crystals with me, and then randomly I'll just give people crystals.
Sure. And that's not a bad thing to do. And as we were talking about before, it doesn't always have to be the fancy, expensive crystal to make the difference. Having a few that you can comfortably give away. It can be more challenging to give a $200 crystal to a random person in the grocery line. But if you get, you know, like a bag of points or something like that you can easily carry, that can be very impactful too.
I do have a nice recent story though. Can I share real fast?
It's your time.
So I do. So sometimes when I go out, like either to meet people, I don't go out that often. I'm just in my house if you watch my Instagram. But when I do go out, sometimes my crystal that I love will keep looking at me and it wants to go to someone. I'm like, no, like, I love you, but it does. So I bring it, give it to them. And I was in Hawaii in February, and I was with my friend, and I was telling her how I got this moldavite ring, and it like changed my life, like transformation last year. And all of a sudden that moldavite ring wanted to go to her. Now that's like what, a $500-600 crystal ring. And I was like, crap. But then it really, like, she was my good friend, so it's okay. But it's like, it wanted to go to her. I'm like, here you go, Rena. Like, this is for you. This moldavite really wants to work with you. And after that, so she's been trying to graduate from nursing and also having her second baby. And we literally manifested. It was like 2022, and we literally manifested her baby like then. And like she told me this last month, everything has transformed. Like I think it's the ring.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever had a crystal that you've sent out that has come back to you?
Like they send it back?
Well, not send it back like you, but that they've had it for a while and then it's done the work and then it wants to come back to you.
Oh, no, I haven't actually. She would probably return it, but I told her she can keep it or give it to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was done. And Moldavite, that ring vibrated on my hand, on her hand, like it vibrates. It was crazy,
Wow.
like your whole hand's vibrating. Yeah, so we were, that one was very powerful. It was a huge one.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, I've actually had the same experience as well with my hemonite rings.
Ooh, yeah, that's powerful too.
These things don't want to come off. They want to stay on until they do their job, and then they break, and then I just put another one on.
Wow.
But I'll have mine on for this one's been on for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was trying to get it off. Like right now, I'm trying to get it off. It's not coming off. It's saying, oh, hell no, I'm staying here. And people think it's because my finger has swelled, but my finger still remains the same, and I've been able to slip it off before. So, I mean, if this thing wants to really stick with you, it's going to stick with you.
Yeah, it will. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of hard to do when you're at the doctor and they say take everything off. I'm like, well, do I really have to take this one off? Really? Because it's not coming off. You can put butter and all that other stuff on there. No. Earlier you were talking about they've got, I remember a few years ago I just started seeing this where they would have drink bottles that have crystals in them.
Yeah.
And you'd be able to drink the water out of that. How does that actually kind of work? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, so I have in the book taught a couple of ways to work with water and crystals. And especially if you're ingesting the water, if you're drinking the water, there's two ways. So the water bottles that you see is crystals in a glass inside of the glass. So the crystals doesn't touch the actual water because crystals are very porous, and even if you, and I don't know if you want to boil your crystals, but you probably should cleanse it really good somehow. And even though if you do that, there still could be germs in it. If you don't care, that's perfectly fine. But just to be safe, I never have my crystals directly touch the water that I'm going to drink. And how you can do that is you can put crystals in a glass cup, and then you can put the glass cup in a bowl of water that you're going to drink. And again, you can charge it outside. You can charge it in the sun for a little bit. You can charge it in the moon, new moon for new beginnings, right? Full moon for more power, for release, for healing, whatever it is that you desire to do. Or you can have your water bottle, just like a bottle of water in glass and a cork, and do a crystal grid around it for the moon. So there's many ways of doing that. Or you can just, if you're not ingesting the water, you can just put the crystals inside of the bottle, a sprayer, and you can spray. Or you can or if you're going to use it as moon water without drinking it, or then you can put the crystals inside of the water directly too.
Yeah, I always thought that was kind of interesting. And plus, it always made the water bottles more expensive.
Yeah. And you can charge, usually for water, I like to charge it maybe for an hour at least. So you can put it in the fridge if you want it cold or whatever. Just let it sit out for an hour and to really infuse the energies of the crystal. And again, I would program it, right? Why are you drinking this water? right? I would invoke the energies and say, hey, I'm going to be blessed with blah, blah, whatever it is, and then drink it. I like to speak I am, or I already have it, as if it has already happened, to be more powerful. So you can program the water, and as you're drinking it, you can even say, I am so happy, I am so magical, I am super wealthy, whatever it is that you desire.
So as people start looking at crystals, are there sort of basic starter, is there like a starter set that people should look for, or as they go deeper? You talked about lists. Your book has lists that people can do, and we should probably talk a little bit about specifically what is in that book so people understand. But how does one find their starter set, and how do they find themselves drawn deeper?
Yeah, so in the book, I gave very, very basic crystals that you can almost find anywhere, like really easy, and it's not like super expensive. There's different variations of the crystals, obviously. Like Sol said earlier, if it's really clear, the bigger it is, the clearer it is, the more expensive. But the crystals that I have in the book are very simple crystals that you can find anywhere. So I like to start with amethyst, because amethyst is protective. It opens up your intuition, psychic awareness. Maybe it'll allow you to connect to the crystal's energy even more. And it's very protective. The second crystal I like to work with is the Rose Quartz, because it does promote self-confidence and love, compassion, right? Who doesn't need more unconditional love? Right? Love energy, gratitude is very powerful, and it brings you into high vibe state. The third crystal is the clear quartz, because it can substitute actually for any other crystal. So let's just say if you're like, ooh, I need a protection crystal, I need a black crystal, but you don't have it for your spells or your altar, you can use a rose quartz, and it is a master healer. So I like to think of it as, if you don't know what you need, if you don't know what crystals you need, just get a clear quartz. And clear quartz are everywhere. So it's very easy. So those three. Ooh, and let's throw in a money crystal. So the money crystal is, for me, it is citrine. And I know we didn't talk about this yet. We talked a little bit about heat treated crystals. So the clear citrine, I should have a citrine somewhere here. So the clear citrines are very pale. It's clear. It's yellow. The ones that are in a cluster that are dark orange and red and yellow, that's actually heat treated amethyst to be citrine. So that's not real citrine, because citrine doesn't grow in a cluster, but it does come as a big point. So either way, depends how you want to work with your crystals. Mostly for money, like big money spells and magic, I use the clear citrine. But the last trip, there has been some really good heat treated ones that we got a few. So it's really to your preference. There's no wrong or right way to work with the crystals.
All right. And with that, we need to go to the witch's cabinet. All right, so on this week's Witch's Cabinet, we are going to do what is called a Mojo bag, or gray bag. So Miss Pamela is going to assist us. So Pamela, how would you start out to making, let's say, one for money?
Money, yes. So I actually made 3 for my friend a month ago. I would start off with your intention. So it's not just, I want more money. I want to be abundant. I want freedom. But what do you really want? You have to be really specific on what you want. So again, the intention, I like to say it and write it as if it has already happened. And this is like one of the secrets to my manifestation. And so I write, I am so happy and grateful that I already have. and then you read whatever it is, and you can just get your petition paper or whatever little paper and write on it. I am so happy and grateful that I already have $30,000 in my bank account. That was so easy to receive, or something so fun, so easy. And so you would have your intention. I like to put a petition paper in it. I know some people don't. It's totally up to you. The bag that I like to use is probably a velvet bag, or you can get felt and you can kind of make a little bag yourself. So if you just get a square piece of felt and some ribbon, then you could just put it together and tie it. Or you could just go on Amazon or Etsy and you can buy those little felt, drawstring bags. It could be bigger, it could be small. I liked about this size, like a little 3x3 or 4x4 or something, because I want to be able to put it in my bag. So I like to start with that. And then you start with the ingredients. So this does take a little bit of intuitive researching, I call it, on your part. And everything from the time that you decide to make your Mojo a gree bag, that is when your journey, that's when your manifestation starts. That's when your journey has already started. So it's not really like the making or the ritual. It's when you decide, you sign an energetic contract with the thing that you're making, that, hey, this is happening. So on that journey, you're going to really follow your intuition, right? And you're going to research the herbs. So you can have herbs. What are some money herbs? So I like to use basil, allspice. Cinnamon is my favorite one. If you probably don't want to get cinnamon powder all over the bag, so cinnamon sticks, right? I also like to use bay leaves. You can write your intention on the bay leaf instead of the petition paper if you desire, or a power word on the bay leaf, right? To invoke the energy. What else is there? Pumpkin spice, allspice is basically the same thing, and it has all of the magic in it. So I believe those are the main ones that I've been using I did for her abundance bag. Now the color of the bag does and doesn't really matter. I would probably use green or yellow for success, green for money, yellow for success, orange to open roads, or just white if you can't find anything else. If you feel called to drawn to any other bags, go for it. I know that the client and friend that I was creating the bag for, she was working with Lakshmi and Ganesha, goddesses and God. And so they had mentioned, hey, we need you to do a red bag to honor us. So it's really who you are also working with. Okay. And so go ahead. I usually use a green bag, and you can gather your herbs, and you can put gold glitter in there if you desire, or if you have anything that symbolizes money to you. Maybe you want to put coins in there, 3 coins. Maybe you want to put your money in there. Now, when you're finished with the bag, and if you're going to keep the money, then maybe you can put $100 in there, right? The bigger, the better. Or you could just put $1 in there. It doesn't really matter. It's totally up to you. Okay. Or you can get ancestor money online, and you can write your intention on that too. That's really fun. And so you can have money in there. Anything that symbolizes, you can put gold, things that are gold colored in there. I think I also put some little citrine inside. Of course, add your crystals. So for a small bag, I would say no more than 3 crystals, just because you don't need all the energies. You just want to be really focused again on your intention and what you're creating. I usually put 1 to 3 crystals inside the bag, and it doesn't have to be big. Again, the little crystals will work. Right? So choose your crystals, research what crystals are for money, and then see what else crystals pop up, right? Like I said, black tourmaline helped her win the poker tournament, but it's not a money crystal. So you might need something to ground yourself in, right? Citrine is a good money crystal, aventurine, pyrite. So basically anything green or gold or yellow you can put in there, right? And so what else can we put in? What else do I put in my crystal? If there's anything that you have on your money, if you do have a money altar, maybe you have incense, maybe you want to bag up that incense and put it inside. right? So after you have gathered your ingredients, I would choose a date that's pretty significant. So maybe on some kind of moon phase, some kind of, or maybe like Lion's Day, 8/8, or whatever day that's significant for you. Or if not, just Thursday. Thursday is Jupiter Day, and that's for abundance and expansion. And just, light a candle if you want to. You don't have to. You can make it a big ceremony, or you could just do it. It's all about your intention, and start and, write your petition, put it in the bag, and start sprinkling in your herbs and your crystals, your money, whatever it is. And with everything that you put in, I would be very intentional. I would say, this is helping me to accomplish my goal, whatever your goal is, and just start putting everything in. You can tie it up. Again, I like to do the hold to your heart thing, hold it in your hands, whatever, hold it to your head, hold it to your heart, say your intention again, right? Maybe 3 times. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. It is done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you keep that with you. So for the Mojo bag that I just created for my client, I actually was called and I had extra bags, and they told me that I needed to make 3 for her. So you don't need to go all out, but she needed one on her altar. She needed one to keep with her in person, and she needed one in the car. Okay, so all of the ingredients, I believe, was almost the same. Maybe I switched the crystals out. I don't really remember what I did. Sometimes I'll just go to my herbal cabinet and I don't even know what the herbs mean, but I'll be like, I want to go in. I'm like, okay, go on in, catnip, So you can do it. It is very free. If you decide to add extra stuff, go for it. There's no rules. You're basically following like your magic, like what lights you up. Like, oh, I want to do this, then do it, right? If you want to burn something and then put it in, do that. I don't know, do whatever it is that you decide. Sometimes I put my bird, so I have chickens and a parakeet. Sometimes they gift me feathers, so I like to put that in my Mojo bag. Or if I find dead bees, I don't know, I find dead bees outside, I'll either put that in my Mojo bag too, or my altar. And so so that is a very simple way to create your Mojo bag.
Awesome. And you keep it with you. Awesome.
Yeah, keep it with you, because that's like your talisman now, right?
So let me ask you, with your Mojo bags, do you have to feed it every so often?
I do. That's a good question. So I just have like all Madame Amita's oils. So this is like abundant prosperity oil. So I have like all the money oil. So I do drop the oil on it. I try to do it every day if I can. If not, then whenever I get the chance to, I do feed it oil. Or you can feed it energy if you don't have oil, or you could just talk to it. Good morning, just like give it I think the reason why, we have to feed our magic is to bring attention to it, right? The more we are focused on the thing is what's going to create in our lives. So as long as you're like bringing awareness.
Mm-hmm. I was told you're actually creating and manifesting an entity when you're doing the Mojo bag. It's like it's a piece of you. That's what it is.
Yes. And I think that's with anything you are, bringing magic to, like your spells, right? Like your spells. And even when you are like it's like a soul connection. You're creating a cord between you and that intention and that practice, whatever it is that you are doing. And I think that's very powerful, because now you have your center of power in the physical realm that's actively doing the work for you, instead of always having to go up into the energetics, or, a lot of people work with mental stuff like reprogramming the mind. Instead of doing that, you have something actively here physically that's working for you, interacting with the environment and bringing it in. Magic.
Mm-hmm. All righty. So where can our people reach you, Pamela?
So you can find me on Instagram at Pamela Unicorn. So that's usually everything is on there, my website, everything. So just go to Pamela Unicorn on Instagram.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. We truly do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you both for having me. Thank you so much.
All right. So that's all for our show today. So join us next week when Saul and I will be chatting with Brian Hink. We want to thank our first responders, essential workers, and medical workers for all of your passion and your dedication and what you're doing in this fight to win in this pandemic, because we truly, truly appreciate all that you do. And ladies, we need to keep fighting for our rights. So don't let anybody try and tell you that you don't have the right to do with your body the way that you're supposed to. And also, keep wearing your mask, get your vaccinations and your boosters, and maintain 6 feet of distance from each other to keep your fuzzy babies, your family, and yourself safe. And have an absolute marvelous week.
I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock. And if you're hurting, they're willing to talk. Nikki Kirby with that black stone. I agree, Evermoving We Rise. Life and soul with a beautiful mind. I give you blessings under moonlight. I know some people who like to chat. I think they're witches, how about that? And every Sunday at 12 o'clock. And if you're hurting, they're willing to talk.